And this is all part of the crew. Constable Crab and Sergeant Gill. Constable Crab. Constable Crab.
Constable Crab? Does he live with SpongeBob? And have Krabby Patties? It is hard to say Constable Crab.
Okay.
Who's kind of crabby, too.
Starting again. Constable Crab.
As soon as Troy gets promoted, everybody's nasty to him.
Including Sergeant Gill.
Yeah, and Constable Crab.
And Sergeant SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yes, and Patrick. Hey, Maniacs.
Hey, Maniacs.
It's Midsomer Maniacs. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Mark. And this is a special Valentine's Day Midsomer Maniac recording session.
Ooh la la.
Episode 29.
Did you bring me some flowers from the all-night gas station?
I did indeed bring you some flowers from the all-night gas station. We'll get there.
People don't understand. You and I in front of our mics, no kids in the house.
There are no children.
We're going to order some Indian delivery. That is a romantic night.
And we're
us.
naked.
No.
Oh, well, I'm naked.
They can imagine that if they want to. It's up to them.
Okay.
Anyway. What episode is this?
This is episode 29, season 7, episode 1, The Green Man.
And even though it's the first episode of a new season, it's the last Troy
last Troy episode.
We're going to have a little tribute to Troy at the end of this
Little
episode.
tribute to Troy.
Lots of people send us their favorite Troy moments.
Yes. So, Midsomer Maniacs is a podcast dedicated to the ITV series Midsomer Murders. Each week, we dig into an episode of the show, including the murders, the mayhem, and the loonies, and everything else we love.
That's right, including Cully having yet another job.
Yet another job. Just a little warning off the top. If a show is too much for your kids, the podcast probably is too. But if you're listening into this far, I think you're probably going to listen on.
There's really just Rumpy Pumpy in this episode.
I got to tell you, I've looked at our demographics. I'm not really worried about children listening to these episodes.
How do you know? There might be a parent out there driving their kid to school in the morning. They put on the Midsomer Maniac podcast on the way to school.
Could
the
be.
Kid's really interesting
Could
at
be.
school. Excuse me, ma'am. What's Rumpy Pumpy mean? Where did you hear that? Podcast.
Our children look at us like, who are you people?
Nah. That we can't do anything
Or
to shock them
haven't
anymore.
you seen this episode before? Yes.
Yes, we have.
But we have to watch it 3 times this week.
Though, I will say, there was a moment in this episode that made one of our children cry.
Yes, it did.
Like this week when we were rewatching it again.
Yes. Well, there's sad parts to this episode.
There are. Let's get into it.
It was filmed in May and June of 2003 and broadcast on the 2nd of November 2003 to 10.01 million people. Directed by Sarah Hellings and written by Michael Russell. And it takes place in Midsomer Worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And the pub, which is the exactly named pub, it's not even the aptly named pub, is the Green Man.
How many pubs in Britain alone do you think are called the Green Man? Guess.
I know I went to at least one when I was in England the first time, because I may have been a little obsessed with Green Man stuff at that point in time.
You might think by my question that there is more than one.
Yes.
How many do you think there are?
I'm guessing one now.
Way more than one.
Okay. I got confused.
Give me an actual guess.
74.
206.
206. There's not that many villages in England.
There are over 20 in London.
I wonder what the 2 closest Green Men pubs are.
Probably the ones in London.
Yeah. Is it
I can look,
but
because-
it's not a franchise. Those are all
No.
independently owned Green Man
Yeah,
pubs.
I mean, they might be owned by, there might be a couple that are owned by the same brewery or something.
It's like
but,
Elephant and Castle.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
sure there's lots of those.
but I would think that a brewery-owned pub, they wouldn't want more than one with the same name because that would be confusing.
Yes.
There's a great website. We'll post a link to it. This guy, he's actually doing Robin Hood research.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things that he looked into was the Green Men reference in Robin Hood. And then he got curious about how many pubs were called the Green Man. And he made a list.
And that's for his website, Robin's Hoodlums.
It's complete with like GPS coordinates for every one of them.
Wow.
It's incredible.
That's more nerdy than we are.
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
206.
206.
But I think there were a couple counties he hadn't surveyed yet. So probably more.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, so we start out with Cully's got yet another job, though this is a volunteer job.
Yeah.
Do you think she got paid for the library mobile?
I think she got paid for the library mobile.
But this one, she's volunteering.
And certainly as a travel agent, she got that bonus for sending her parents to Africa.
Yeah, I think she got a cut.
Yeah.
She's doing PR for a guy named Webster.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What?
Whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, what?
There's a headband we need to talk about here.
Okay.
It's horrible.
Lay the headband on me.
Cully's headband.
Well,
It's egregious. First of all, it's 6 inches wide.
she's got to keep her hair out of her face.
So
So this is what happens when you get your hair cut short, whether you're a man or a woman, you get your hair cut short. She had that cute little pixie cut, and then you're going to grow it out. You have these weird phases while your hair is growing where you have to just tame it. You just have to control it until it gets past that phase.
this is the weird Cully season
Yeah.
because the next episode has her and her high school friends. That episode.
That one creeps me out. I don't know why it gives me the heebies.
Creepy.
But she's doing PR
Yep. For a tunnel. Well, it's for a canal rebuilding.
for Tim Webster,
Yes.
who hopes to get a knighthood by excavating this tunnel.
He's trying to get national attention.
It's a canal tunnel.
For his contour canal.
Yes.
That follows the contours of like a hill or a mountain.
Mm-hmm. Which was an alternative to cutting through the mountain to make a place for the canal.
Yeah.
Right. Which would have been a lot more labor intensive.
Exactly.
So she's doing PR. And of course, Joyce is going to get involved.
Well, Joyce gets more than involved. She gets caved in on, literally.
That's the one thing about this episode that I always remember. I can forget some of the character names, but I always remember how genuinely upset Tom is.
Like
when
I
Joyce
was saying
is trapped.
with the last episode, there wasn't the emotion that this episode has.
Yeah.
This has so much more emotion in it.
Like I am upset on his behalf. I don't really care how long Joyce stays in the tunnel, but I don't want Tom to be so sad.
So they're clearing stuff out of the tunnel. Okay. There's no reason given for the collapse of the tunnel. And Webster's supposedly an engineer.
Right. So he should know better.
He should know better.
But, he doesn't know about all the bodies in there either.
No.
So
we don't know what happens with Joyce here. Joyce may bite it here, right? She might die.
Well, we do know that she doesn't.
Well, of course we don't. We do, but okay. We're still supposed to think that Joyce is in grave danger.
Yes.
So
even though they know right away that they're alive and on the other side of it, they can hear them. I mean, it's not, I don't think there's a whole lot of suspense of is Joyce dead? It's just, it's scary. It's scary that she could have died.
Yes.
Which wouldn't nearly make up for all the lives she's taken.
No.
Maybe they should have left her in there and Midsomer would have been safer.
No one dies when she's in there.
That's true.
Yep. No one dies when she's in Africa.
Just saying.
Except the man from Dakari.
Daktari. Before we get too deep in, we need to set some rules here because we've got Tom and we've got Tom.
No, we have Tom and we have Tom. Pause Tom.
Pause Tom.
Because every time anyone says that name and they're referring to Tom, it's pause Tom.
I'm going to call him Old Tom.
Pause Tom.
You can call him Pause Tom if you want.
Pause Tom and Old Tom are the same person.
Yes, because in my notes I put TNT for Tom and Troy.
Yes,
pretty often. And as I was reviewing my notes and I realized I was like, Tom's on the bridge, Tom's at Webster's, Tom is in the camp. Like, wait a minute. Which Tom?
Well,
Tom's got a fox.
that would be Tom.
There's just a little beat. I'm just going to call him Old Tom.
Troy, especially, does pause Tom.
Yes. But I'm just going to call him Old Tom so that there's clarity. So
Okay, so Old Tom. I'll call him Old Tom, too.
Thank you. That would probably help.
Yep.
Old Tom's on the bridge.
And there's some yobs that we never see again. These yobs.
No, those are the same yobs.
No, different yobs.
They're in Daniel's car.
I'm sure they're different yobs.
They're the same yobs.
I thought they were
didn't
different.
pay for 4 extra yobs.
Well, they didn't pay for good music, that's for sure.
So do you know what yob means?
You told me, but I would like the listeners to know.
I mean, what do you think yob means?
Well, yob is a ne'er-do-well young man around the village up to no good.
Yeah, like an uncouth, antisocial younger person. That's what it means.
Throws beer cans at runners.
But what I was interested in is where it comes from.
Yes.
So I went to the OED, the
OED,
Oxford English Dictionary, to find the first citation for yob.
Yob.
Turns out it originated in Australia, but probably from Brits who were sent to Australia. The first
Criminals.
citation for it in Britain is in the 30s in print. But it is a member of a group of slang words called backslang.
Which is backwards talk.
Yes, that costermongers in London used to use to talk in code.
Oh, okay.
So it's boy backwards.
Yob.
Yob. And it's stuck around. I thought that was fun.
I'm Cram.
I'm harassed. Nice to meet you. So the yobs are in the car. We see Tom being stubborn for the first time. He's got his walking cane.
Why does Tom go to town? Why does old Tom go to town ever?
Tom goes wherever he wants.
I know he goes wherever he wants, but every time he goes to town, yobs.
Drawn to him like a magnet. Pause Tom and the yob magnets.
Pause Tom and the yob magnets.
They wouldn't make very good music. I don't think they would be able to agree on anything. And just pauses for Tom's parts. It's just silence.
And then just Tom samples.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a bad thing.
It's a wrong thing.
A wrong thing. Tom's played by David Bradley, who has been in everything.
Yep. He's super good. He's a fantastic actor.
But he plays that part,
yes.
right? He was in The Strain, and he played an old crotchety guy.
Yep.
He's in the Harry Potter movies. He's an old crotchety guy. He's in Hot Fuzz. He's an old crotchety guy. He plays Walder Frey in Game of Thrones. He's an old crotchety guy.
Yep.
But David Bradley is not an old crotchety guy.
No.
He's actually very funny. I watched a couple of interviews with him, and he's amazingly not old crotchety guy.
Oh, that's good.
And I actually found a picture of him young,
Oh.
which I was like, wow, he actually was younger at some point.
No.
Because you wouldn't think.
He came out of the womb like that.
Because he's looked the same for like 40 years.
Yeah, definitely.
He got old. He got older looking, and then he just stayed.
I think this is probably the first place I saw him in.
He was on Celebrity Mastermind in 2013.
Okay. So for American people, Mastermind is this British television show in which you answer questions in a very specific area of interest.
That you choose.
So I remember the first Mastermind I ever watched. The guy's topic was bar towels of Scottish pubs.
Yeah.
And
they prepared like 50
insanely
questions.
Specific. And then there's a celebrity version in which you're always amazed. First of all, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that. Oh, I know that person.
The contestants?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they ask wickedly specific questions, and these celebrities are like.
So either their topics are super lame and stupid, or incredibly erudite and unexpected.
Yeah.
Would you like to guess what David Bradley's topic was on Mastermind?
Okay, David Bradley's topic on Mastermind was dart champions of the 20th century.
No, his topic was one man named Max Wall,
Okay.
who was an early comedic actor.
Oh. I wonder how he did.
He came in second.
Oh, okay.
Max Wall was in a movie later in his career that we have to find, because the entire movie is about somebody interviewing a serial killer, like a suspected serial killer. And Maxwell plays the character of the suspected serial killer. And all he says is yes or no for the whole movie.
Oh, that'd be interesting to watch.
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
But David Bradley, good actor. He does a really good job in this episode.
Fantastic in Game of Thrones. Fantastic in
He's
Harry
so
Potter.
nasty in Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Ugh.
nasty.
Yeah.
Well, he gets his comeuppance.
Yes, he does.
So
But he's a good guy here.
then we move to the cop shop with Tom, young Tom.
Just Tom, Barnaby, and Troy, who's nervous because he wants to know if he's passed his inspector's exam.
And he has.
He has. He's Inspector
Everybody
Troy.
wants to give him a job.
And so we get that first like warm, glowy emotion from Barnaby going, oh, because he just looks genuinely proud.
He totally has the I'm so proud look.
John Nettles does such a good job
Yeah.
in that scene and when he's upset about Joyce. And he's utterly convincing. And we feel all kind of warm and fuzzy about him too. But also like, oh no, that means that Troy's going to leave, which is kind of what Tom's feeling too.
Yeah. He's proud of him, but he's going to miss him.
Old Tom's got a fox.
He's got a jaunty hat and a real fox that isn't real sometimes.
It is kind of fun to watch those fox scenes and go, real fox, fake fox, real fox, fake fox.
I'm going to get picky here.
Okay.
In addition to the fake fox, there are two shots that are horribly done in this episode of foxes.
Okay.
They're out of focus.
They look like they're cut out of nature documentaries.
Yeah, and they look standard definition to the rest of the show being high definition.
Yeah.
And there's a shot like Barnaby like that too. I have to think there may have been some footage lost on this episode and they had to fill in some things because...
Or they had to use the backup footage or something.
Yeah. It never should have made the TV.
Well, then later the foxes make interesting sounds like...
Yeah, the foxes are quite a good part of the episode. And, though we don't see it, there's a fox corpse. So it could be corpse of the episode.
That's true. I didn't even have the fox on my list of corpses.
Yes. We don't see it, though.
Probably because all I could think about was Henry Cavill.
So Superman arrives.
No,
the Witcher.
he's the Witcher.
The Witcher.
He's Simon Mayfield.
Yes.
But he's Henry Cavill, 20 years old.
Yes.
Most recently in The Witcher.
He is but a child. He's so young, you're like, no, oh my gosh, that's the Witcher.
That is him. Well, and Henry Cavill is known for this gravelly voice.
Yes.
That almost sounds fake gravelly.
In The Witcher, he's so...
And in this, he's like, hey, what are you looking at, mister?
I did a wrong thing.
I was rumpy-pumpy in a car with my friend's mom.
Okay, we'll get to that. Ooh.
No, so he's in the car with somebody. We don't know who it is. We find out it's Lillian later, doing the rumpy-pumpy, and old Tom comes by, and he jumps out of the car to yell at him, and his rumpy-pumpy partner takes off and leaves him.
I know. I have in my notes, Superman must fly back to town.
The Witcher got ditchered. Our notes are funny.
Superman roughs up Tom as Fox attacks.
News at 10. Joyce is rescued.
So we never see who he's shagging in the woods, but we know it's Lily.
Yeah, it's his friend's mom.
Which is, it's unfortunate.
She's pretty.
Yeah.
She's lithe.
Back at the tunnel, Tom is upset.
Yeah. He doesn't care about his suit. It's getting all dirty.
And Cully does the head shake because she doesn't know.
No. It's like genuinely sad.
But then they solve the problem.
They bricked
in
up
5
Joyce.
minutes.
Rocks don't stop Joyce. You can't trap Joyce.
Joyce makes it out and everyone claps. And there's a nice hand-holding picture.
Yes. They don't like clutch each other and make out or anything. They just grip hands. They're happy to be together. But okay, so the rocks fall, trap Joyce and the other people. But what's on the other side?
apparently, because I did a lot of thought of this, apparently there's a number of people who are clearing out the tunnel.
Yes.
Then there's a space. Then there's the opening to the tunnel.
Okay.
And the cave-in happened, luckily, in that space. So there's room for them.
Wait a minute. So you think the tunnel has collapsed further on and that's what they're clearing out?
No. The tunnel has... Okay, so there's the entrance.
Yes.
Then there's parts of the tunnel.
Yes.
And then there's where they're clearing out the tunnel.
Right.
So they would be working where they cleared out the tunnel.
Yeah.
And somewhere between where they're working and the entrance, the tunnel collapsed.
Yeah. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, what are they clearing out?
The tunnel collapsed.
Oh, and so they think it's safe
Oh,
to
yeah.
clear rubble that has already collapsed in a tunnel.
Okay, it fell once. So because of that, it's never going to fall
No,
again.
it's fallen twice already. Because it fell once to kill the people who are trapped in the wall, the dead bodies. Then it collapsed again, and now they're clearing that out.
Bus engineer. He knows what he's talking about.
No, he's not a bus engineer. He's a tour bus owner. Tim Webster owns Midsomer Tours, double-decker buses.
All I know is if Superman had his powers, Joyce would be out of there lickety-split.
The Witcher wouldn't have let that happen.
No, he'd just grumble.
So what do you make of Lord Fitzgibbon?
I like Lord Fitzgibbon, but there is not nearly enough backstory there because he's an appeal courts judge
Yeah.
who has no money and a weird house and no wife. And like, what happened to him that I'm assuming he's retired from the bench.
Yeah.
But he should be loaded.
No, not necessarily.
Well,
I mean, he should have enough.
yeah.
But if he's a lord, he probably has a family home, like a country house. That makes you broke immediately. As soon as you take possession, you're broke because you can't maintain him. If he's a bachelor, then he's got no kids to
My
do
idea
it.
for his backstory was he was the middle brother. So he didn't inherit anything. He has a modest house and he's a bachelor.
Well, he's got a pretty big house, and yet he lives in one room. It's clear he lives in one room. He's got a bed in the corner. He makes tea in the fireplace.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem to mind.
No.
He seems rather happy about it.
He sure has a lot of man traps.
Yeah. Do you know the difference between a man trap and a bear trap?
No.
There isn't one.
Oh, okay.
But there are a lot of videos on YouTube of idiots who think they're fast and strong, testing themselves by punching the center of a bear trap and trying to get their hand out of the way first.
Wow, that's a YouTube video of ouch.
Oh, there are like 20 or 30 of them.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Don't do that.
If you test yourself to see if you're fast enough to punch a bear trap and make a video of it,
I realize
you might be an idiot.
that the demographics of our podcast are 70% female over the age of 45. So I don't think many of you are going to do it. But if you are, Mabel, don't.
Martha. Or if you're thinking about dating a man and he says, hey, look at this video I made, walk away.
Yes. So they find a bunch of bodies.
Right, in the collapsed tunnel
And
behind a wall that's now fallen down.
And this is all part of the crew. Constable Crab and Sergeant Gill. Constable Crab. Constable Crab.
Constable Crab? Does he live with SpongeBob? And have Krabby Patties? It is hard to say Constable Crab.
Okay.
Who's kind of crabby, too.
Starting again. Constable Crab.
As soon as Troy gets promoted, everybody's nasty to him.
Including Sergeant Gill.
Yeah, and Constable Crab.
And Sergeant SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yes, and Patrick. They're nasty
Why
to him.
am I in Midsomer?
But Constable Crab does have one of my favorite lines in this episode. He says, there's a surprising quantity of dead people in there.
That's a great line. That should be the subtitle of every Midsomer.
But in fact, the quantity is surprising because it goes from 3 to 4 to 7 to 8.
Yes. All those things. Really, there's 9 because there's 8 original in the cave-in. And then the 9th body.
Probably 10 because Joyce probably killed somebody while she was in there. I mean, she's trapped. She's got nothing else to do.
The
It's dark.
darkness was the worst. I couldn't see who I was killing. I just killed everybody. So Crab flags Troy down, and Troy feels gutted
Yeah.
that he doesn't know that his governor's wife has been in this accident.
Yeah, because he wants to be there. One of the skeletons is clearly a modern skeleton because it's got dental work. So, though most of them died in the original collapse.
Yes, the NHS feelings. Again, for our American listeners,
That's National Health Service.
when you have health care that the government takes care of.
That your taxes pay for.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everybody's treated well.
Okay, Bernie.
Sorry.
You're so Canadian
Canadian.
sometimes. Of all of the canals that Webster could have chosen, the tunnels he could have chosen to bring back to life, to fix up, make his name, why did he pick one that had already collapsed twice?
I don't know.
It's not like it's on his land.
Yeah, it's weird.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I think that is irritating to his wife, Lillian, too, who clearly hates his guts.
It is a trope of the horrible marriage here.
Yeah, Lillian, the bitchy wife, she's even coming out of the indoor swimming pool. We've seen that before,
Yep.
right?
Drinking, listening
Isn't
to
it a
music.
little early to drink?
Yeah.
What does that lady say in the author's episode? It's noon somewhere.
It's noon somewhere.
Tom's talking to Webster, and I wonder, I think he probably would have known about, he knew about the whole project already, right? Because Joyce is volunteering.
Yeah.
And Cully's volunteering.
Yeah.
So I would think he might have even met him before. I almost feel bad for Webster. He's trying to do something. It's kind of quixotic what he's trying to do, but he's trying to do it.
He is, but he comes across as a jerk to Tom.
Yeah. He kind of lords it over him, I guess.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I want to talk about something.
Okay.
The thing I want to talk about
Is a Midsomer
is
episode?
where the hell is old Tom's camp?
I understand why you want to know that. Explain.
At one point, Fitzgibbon says it's an hour walk from here.
Mm-hmm.
And yet everybody, including Troy, the dogs, the yobs and the Dobbs, and the fox, all get there super fast.
Okay, so back up. A couple things. One, we know it's quite a distance because when Troy is trying to drive through Fitzgibbon's land to get to the camp, Fitzgibbon says, "You can't get there from here. My
It's an
roads are
hour
all
away."
overgrown. You're gonna." And Troy says, "Last time I was out there, it was a 45-minute walk."
Yeah.
But then later, when it's a crime scene, there's just cars pulling up to it.
Yeah, instantly.
That's inconsistent.
There
You're
is
right.
a problem as to where Tom's camp is. Also, Tom's camp is not like, okay, I understand Tom wants to live on the land and wants to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
Based on his life, I understand. He wouldn't have built a structure by now.
That's the point. He doesn't want a structure.
He could have built a lean-to.
He could sleep in one of Fitzgibbon's sheds. He doesn't want to.
Yeah,
He wants to be outside.
I think he would have built a lean-to at least.
I don't think so. I think he probably moves around based on the season.
He doesn't need a hovel like in the other episode, but
You wouldn't want to sleep where he sleeps in the wintertime. You'd want to be more into the woods to get a break from the wind. So I'm sure he moves it around.
okay, we're going to just be very clear here. I would never want to sleep where he sleeps. Okay? I have slept out of doors.
You don't want to
like
cuddle
it.
up with David Bradley?
No,
Old Tom?
I like walls.
Okay.
I like walls. I'd go sleep in the canal cave-in.
I like comfy beds, so I'm not interested either. But poor Troy, though, trying to find him, like it's as if they assume that old Tom moves around all the time, like his camp moves around every night, and it doesn't.
No, the camp stays at the same
That's
place.
where you find old Tom. He will
Yes.
eventually come back there.
Yes.
So, Troy kind of waits out there for a little while and leaves a note or whatever, but, he's going to come back.
The other thing that bothers me about this episode is the Green Man pub has a sign outside that says the Green Man. If you don't know, the Green Man's a folklore hero
Yeah.
in England. They also have the same sign inside.
Yeah, right inside the door, in case
Yeah.
you don't know where you are
In
when
case
you're
you
inside.
Don't know where you are.
Sometimes you get drinking and you get lost
Where am I again?
inside the pub.
Oh, I'm in Nicotine Man. Charlie Perkett picks Troy as a copper right away.
Because he's an old retired cop.
He knows everything about what's going on already. You should go ask Lord Fitzgibbon.
Now I have to tell you something about Charlie Burkett.
Okay.
He's played by Fred Pearson. There's not a lot in Fred Pearson's acting history that's notable.
He's not a great...
He's been in Casualty. He's been in The Bill. He's been in blah, blah,
He's a
yada,
fine
yada,
actor.
EastEnders, whatever.
He's not... He doesn't stand out.
But he has one role
Okay.
that will enshrine him for at least you and me.
Yeah.
He was in an episode of Misfits.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Okay. Let's just say Misfits is not for everybody.
No, but for the people who enjoy it, sweet Jesus
But
is
if
a
you
good
can
show.
remotely tolerate the first few episodes
Yep.
and get past them, it is so worth it.
It may be the best superhero show of all time.
Yes. That's good. That's teasing them. They'll watch it now.
It is.
You should watch it. Anyway, but he's in one of our favorite episodes. He's the old Jewish guy who gets time travel powers and goes back to kill Hitler.
Oh, that's
and
right.
And loses his cell phone.
He loses his cell phone.
And so the Germans win the war and
okay.
change the future.
This show is bonkers. Okay.
Fucking Hitler.
This show is bonkers. But that is one of the best episodes, mostly because it may be like, this is the most rude, vulgar superhero show you're ever going to see.
Smart.
So smart and so emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you weep openly while you're laughing several times.
Yes. But he plays the key character in that episode that is so good.
Yeah, that's such a good show. We should watch that show again.
But start at the beginning, people.
Yeah.
Because it won't make any sense to you, but it's so worth it.
And you don't even like cheese.
That's our Valentine's Day gift to you, Misfits.
Misfits.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now.
Absolutely.
We'll wait for you. Webster has a model of the canal on his little table.
Yes.
He's so proud of it.
Yeah, there's a couple of weird shots where, like, Tom is looking through things.
Yeah.
And that's how the shots begin.
Well, in the model, the tunnel is completely clear. There are no dead people in it. There's just bright, sparkly blue water.
Blue water.
So I fell down this rabbit hole looking at canals
Yeah.
in the UK.
Now, I have to tell you, dear listener, we have a dream. And our dream is to go on a vacation in England and go on a canal boat for a few days.
Yeah.
Right? And it's beautiful. We've watched canal shows and canal boat shows. We'd like to do it. And hell, I'd record a podcast while we're on the boat. Man, right? So we're like immediately, oh, it's a canal. There's a bunch of boats in it.
Yeah. But so Webster mentions this Sir Jonathan Hazlitt, who he claims designed this canal and this tunnel. And that's why he wants to restore it, because it's this great feat of engineering. As near as I can tell, Sir Jonathan Hazlitt is not a real person.
Nope. I looked him up. He's not real.
But I got to looking around at abandoned canal tunnels in the UK to see whether this kind of project is something that people actually undertake.
Like sometimes they have episodes that are ripped from the headlines.
Exactly. Yeah. I couldn't find a lot of examples of tunnels being restored in that way. Most of the ones that are useful have been maintained instead.
Okay.
But I did find some awesome stories of canal tunnels in their heyday.
Yes.
That were just epic.
So the heyday of the canal system in England, especially, happens in the late 18th century and early 19th century.
Prior to trains.
Prior to trains and telegraph.
Right. And I found one example of a tunnel that was like 7 miles long and had a wharf in the middle of it, so boats could turn around and get past each other.
It needed a bar in the middle of it.
Yeah, really. It would have been very dark.
Welcome
there.
to the Green Man.
Yeah, see, there you need a sign that tells you where you are because it's so black. But the more I looked around, what I actually found was a lot of people talking about like urban exploration, or I guess it's not really urban, suburban, country, rural exploration in these abandoned canals, tunnels, and then a bunch of information about how they were built and all this stuff. And I'm ever so slightly claustrophobic, right? I just don't like tight spaces that I can't get out of.
She's like Tom.
Yes, I'm like old Tom. I got to be outside. Don't fence me in. And I found out, and I knew quite a bit about canal boats anyway, but I found out that in the early days, when they primarily used the canal boats to move coal from the mines, the tunnels were very small because they were built efficiently and cheaply, right? Just to get stuff from one place to another. And so they used to be so tight that they wouldn't build a towpath inside the tunnel. So you would have a horse that walked along the canal, and he actually pulled the boat.
Yeah.
But when they would get to a tunnel, the horse would have to go up and over the hill. So one guy would take the horse up over the hill, and the other guy would have to take the boat through the tunnel. And these tunnels were so tight that they could lay on their back on top of the coal and use their feet to walk along the top of the canal to propel the boat. They called it legging. And just the thought of doing that makes me want to hyperventilate. I can't believe people did that.
The darkness was the worst part.
For miles.
They
did it.
Yep.
And no lamp because coal. Hello.
So you can generally walk a mile in about 15 minutes if you're in any sort of shape.
So they would have been doing this. It probably would have been slower than a walking pace, I would guess.
I would say
so. It would have been an hour and a half in a 3-mile tunnel.
Yep.
Just on your back, just walking along the top of the tunnel, moving the boat along with your body.
Smoking your pipe.
Not.
No.
Because you'd die.
Yep.
Not even enough room on the sides of the boat to jump off. You would have had to jump off in front or behind it. It was that tight.
See, what you told me about this, and I agree, it's hideously claustrophobic. But if it was me, I would have got out and pushed the boat.
You would have fallen asleep. Be honest. You would have laid on the top of the boat, started legging, and then started snoring.
That's true.
And eventually another boat would have pushed you out the other end.
I would have fallen asleep. You're correct. Why didn't they put ropes along the top so you could do hand over hand?
I don't know. I mean, they did depress like every 5th brick, so it's almost like a ladder. So your feet would have, a toehold to move along, but yeah, just the idea. And I saw an image of a guy doing it. It was just like, whoa.
Yes. Ugh.
Sorry, digression. Anyway, canals, cool. Hey. Webster's son's name is Daniel. He's one of the yobs.
Who are going out to shoot bunnies. And which sounds like a euphemism, but they're going out to shoot bunnies.
They're going lamping.
Yes.
Which also sounds like a euphemism and isn't.
No.
In the U.S., we call it spotlighting.
Yeah.
That's what they call it in Canada, too. It's completely illegal here.
It's super illegal.
In the U.K., it's kind of ambiguous because the laws primarily are against lamping using dogs. So you can't...
What about coal lamping?
While you're legging?
Yep.
Upside down. So what they're doing isn't illegal, but it's unethical. People who are real hunters don't approve.
Fitzgibbon doesn't approve too, and
old Tom really doesn't approve.
When Fitzgibbon's gamekeeper, who was that played by again?
Fitzgibbon?
No, Fitzgibbon's gamekeeper.
I don't know.
Who's mentioned 3 times in the episode.
Oh, he doesn't appear.
But never appears.
No. But he's brutal.
That's like a Chekhov rule that you shouldn't do, right? And Fitzgibbon makes a joke that
every time he kills a teenage boy, we bury him in quicklime. There's no evidence.
Yep.
I made Fitzgibbon from Kentucky there. There ain't no evidence of the quicklime. My gamekeeper takes care of that.
That's not what Fitzgibbon sounds like.
No, he doesn't. He sounds
So the Yobs go out and shoot. Tom stops them, takes their gun away because they're cowards, throws it in the woods.
That's a really tense scene.
It is super tense. The kid takes the rifle and points, like they shoot a warning shot.
Yeah. And you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Because it's Midsomer. Midsomer murders, right? I knew he wasn't going to shoot him when the first time I saw it because it wouldn't have been very mysterious if we saw who shot him.
But I got to tell you, they're doing the wrong thing.
It's a wrong thing.
And
let me tell you about the yobs.
Well, just before that, in the weirdness that is episode weirdness that we've talked about before, I always get this scene and this tramp mixed up with the tramp from the episode with the hunt in it.
Yeah, with the hounds.
Yes, those two tramps, they should hang out. Well, Tom's not dead and the other tramp is, but they would have been best buds.
Yeah. But no, because people who live in seclusion don't hang out with each other.
That's true. Go away.
You can't have a pair of hermits. It doesn't work.
What do you call a pair of hermits?
You don't. So the yobs, let's talk about who they are. We've already said that one of them is Henry Cavill.
Yes. The Witcher.
He's 20 years old in this episode.
Yes.
So he's a little bit older than he's supposed to be, but not too much.
Yeah.
He got really lucky. He probably didn't think he was lucky at the time, but I'm sure Henry Cavill looks back now and says, "Phew, that was close." When Stephenie Meyer wrote the Twilight books,
yes,
Edward Cullen in her head was Henry Cavill.
Oh.
And she wanted him for that part when they made the movies.
Okay.
But the director liked Robert Pattinson instead.
Good.
Phew. Oh, darn.
Like, he's so much better than that.
Oh, yeah.
I actually think Henry Cavill will at one point be Bond.
He almost was already.
Oh, really?
They wanted him for, what is it, Casino Royale is the first one with
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig, yeah. But they thought he was a little bit too young to be James Bond. So they went with Daniel Craig instead.
Because he was in Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is basically James Bond.
Yeah, he was really good in that.
He does a great job in that.
He's the first non-American to play Superman.
Yes, I can see that.
And he has an 8-pack.
Well, he does.
Not a 6-pack.
He does.
Apparently, very few people can actually achieve an 8-pack.
Oh.
It's like a genetic thing almost.
Well, and he's in that hot tub in The Witcher. Man. Woo.
Hot tamales.
Hot tamale.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one yob.
Okay.
We got two more yobs. We've got Daniel Webster.
Mm-hmm.
This is Tim Webster's son.
The killer.
He's played by Mark Buckner. What's interesting about him, his acting career, his credits just stop in 2005. I'm like, what happened to him? He's not dead.
No.
He's too young to be dead. He left acting, went back to grad school, and he's now the CEO of a company called Investorly.
Oh, okay.
Investorly is an equity crowdfunding platform to help great high-growth, global good businesses from emerging markets find an international network of support and investment from both institutional and consumer investors.
So
They're crowdfunding for businesses that originate in emerging markets, third world countries.
wow. So
That's pretty cool.
He has a brain.
Yeah.
And he has a heart.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's not bad.
Not in this episode.
No,
But
he's
the
the
actor,
killer.
the person behind it, Mark Buckner, he does.
Yeah.
And then our third yob is Stephen Curtis.
Who is the worst? Just the worst.
He's the worst job.
Yep.
He's played by Jamie Thomas King. And the thing that's interesting about him is he's been in a Murdoch.
Oh.
He's in The Canadian Patient, which is a 2017 episode.
Canadian Patient.
Mm-hmm. Like The English Patient.
You like the English
but
Patient?
The Canadian Patient.
I don't know. I'll have to watch that one. It's another Murdoch crossover.
We've seen it.
Well, I know we've seen it.
Yeah.
So.
But he doesn't have a whole lot of acting credits. He does a lot of stage stuff, but that was the interesting thing about him.
Yes.
So there's the yobs. Now you know.
Excellent. So Troy's also wandering the forest, and he sees an owl. And that owl is beautiful.
It is.
It's a great actor, and it's really well shot.
It makes me think of the owl in Labyrinth.
Yeah.
David Bowie has an owl.
Troy just wants to know if Tom's okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's worried about him. And then he just disappears into the forest like the Green Man.
He's magic. When they drop him off, it's really magic. Like there's just a deer standing there.
Yeah.
And then they just poof.
Yep.
Disappear.
So let's get this straight. The yobs then go to the Green Man.
Mm-hmm.
And they bother Charlie there.
Mm-hmm.
But the the killer, the kid who's the killer, what's his name again? Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
He's not there. I double checked. Because he's creeping back to the forest to get the gun.
Right.
And then he sends a text message pretending to be his mom doing a booty call.
Yes.
This is problematic.
What's problematic about that?
It's weird.
He lures Simon out there thinking that he's going to go out and be with Lillian.
And then
it's Daniel waiting for him
he
instead.
He leaves a Superman trap on the ground.
Surprise! Yeah. One of Fitzgibbon's, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what we're led to believe because Fitzgibbon has a whole barn full of traps.
Yep.
Quick line.
And he gets shot right in the face.
Does, right in the head.
He's a little pissed off that they're bonking his mom.
Yeah. Daniel's got problems. That is not a justification, okay?
No.
It's a justification for being a little upset with your mom, especially if your friends are teasing you about it. That's pretty uncomfortable.
But we never see that.
Get some new friends. Tell your mom to stop it.
No, we're going to talk about stories we read as a child
His mom
in faraway land.
is played by Sherry Lungi.
Yes.
She's also in another episode of Midsomer called A Dying Art.
Yeah.
She plays Alexandra Monkford. She's in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Kenneth Branagh's Frankenstein movie. She plays his mom. Because Branagh plays Victor Frankenstein, and she plays his mom.
Oh, she plays his mom?
Even though she's only like 6 or 8 years older than him.
Oh, okay. I only ever saw that once at the theater.
But the role that you remember her for is Guinevere in Excalibur in 1981.
Oh, my, yes.
The movie that is just covered in Vaseline. Every shot is this blurry, fuzzy,
it's covered in a lot of
glittery,
things.
gem, gold, sparkle, blur.
Okay, first of all, all the armor is super shiny.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of the women are super naked.
Yeah. And shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Picard has hair.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart's in it, and he plays like a swashbuckler almost.
Yeah.
His hair is absolutely worth going to seeing again. Excalibur is fantastic. I watched it easily 10 times as a kid, and I will
because of the naked ladies. No, the armor.
No, I like the armor. And I will easily watch it again. Everyone is at 11.
Oh yeah.
It is over the top.
Way
all
over
over the top. And it is so fantastically bizarre. And you spend the whole movie going, oh, that's this person.
Oh yeah.
That's this person.
You'll notice one person after another that you recognize.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Daniel's luring his friends out into the woods with a promise of sex with his mother so he can kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't care how much your parents fight. That's not an excuse.
Yeah.
George has got the bones in the super tech morgue. He says that the modern skeleton was killed probably with an axe to the head.
Yes.
There's only one modern one. And we find out later, of course, that old Tom killed him because that's his dad.
But where's Tom? Tom's in Research Dungeon.
Yes. So is that supposed to be the newspaper archives or the village archives, or is that Tom's basement?
Or the police archive? It's all, I don't know.
He spends a lot of time down there.
It's the research dungeon where research montages happen.
where he just happens to find the notes from the commission for the building of a tunnel or something.
Well,
let me tell you, the newspaper archives.
It is the Canal and Navigation Company Midsummer Canal Society recorded minutes for the following months: June 1799, August 1799, September and October 1799. And in October 1799, it talks about a annual trade fair and that there's an inn opening. They've done a really good job on these. They're stitch bound. They're actually written with a quill pen.
Yeah, they're old fashioned.
Yeah,
for sure. I wonder if they're real.
They could be, except for they say Midsummer.
Midsummer. Yeah.
Them. Now, another thing they say, so the minutes have that all at the top, and then the first item of every meeting is apologies. Do you know what that is?
Is that when they start out by saying who's not present?
Yes, apologies are from people who are unable to attend the meeting. They're noted at the beginning of the meeting notes and included in the minutes.
I wish they included the reason why they weren't there, you know? Like Dave Wimple not present because of gout.
Yeah.
Or his mother is upset again.
Yep. No, none of those are there. So the other thing about the research dungeon is nothing is cataloged or in order. It's just a bunch of old books.
Big
does
bound
Tom
records.
find anything?
I don't know. I mean, they only have as many records as can fit in those two little alcoves in the wall. It's not very big. So once the living yobs find out that one of the yobs is dead, the Witcher is dead.
They're crying little baby yobs then.
They're angry and they want Tom blood.
They want
Old Tom blood.
Tom blood.
See, the listeners can't see you. Bug-eyed pause. Tom. So they go trash his camp and they shoot his fox.
They're
Sad teenagers.
assholes.
They're upset.
I don't care. They killed the fox.
Their friend has been shot in the head.
Now, never mind that the fox probably has rabies and would eat them, would bite them in a second and probably make them really sick.
And never mind that Daniel is one of those angry, sad yobs and knows full well that he's the one who killed Simon. Why is he even pretending to be angry at old Tom?
He's the angriest because he pretends to be angry.
Well, Tom has something to say. A death for a death.
Death for a death.
They burn the camp. Poor Tom, the purposely homeless guy, is now really homeless because even his dented teapot is burned.
Yep.
Webster and Lillian argue, blah, blah, blah.
And Troy has to arrest Tom because he was one of the last people seen with the gun.
Well, and he says he doesn't remember what he did with it.
Yeah.
Like, they saw him throw it into the woods, but he says he doesn't remember. How can you not arrest him?
And Daniel Casey does a great job of acting here where it's like...
He's torn.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to hurt Tom, old Tom, and he knows that he probably isn't responsible, but how can he not bring him in? And since old Tom keeps hiding, he has to arrest him. He can't just ask him to come in to be questioned.
And plus, Yob Dad really is against him.
Oh my gosh. That's one angry jerk Yob Dad.
I call him Yob Dad with dad backwards, but dad backwards is dad. So he's Yob Dad. So just pretend I'm saying dad backwards.
That's Stephen Curtis's dad.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's something else. He's got big hairy nostrils.
He is just the worst. And his wife wants to force feed them orange juice constantly.
Yeah. She looks like she's been crying for a week.
Well, yeah, because I bet you the Witcher's been witching her too.
Well, and when she looks like she's been crying for a while, that's after their son is killed.
Yeah.
So, of course, she's upset.
Yeah.
And the dad's like, well, what is there to do? You don't even have to talk to anybody. Just arrest that one guy. Obviously, he did it. Like, you don't need any evidence or any investigation or whatever. It's just that guy. Like, no, wait.
Yeah.
Because their friend did it.
Yes.
Hold on. So we've got these two kind of parallel cases, right? So Troy, who's now Inspector Troy, is responsible for
yard.
deaths in the modern age, while Tom is investigating the historical death of Eric Edwards in 1968.
Yes. Which is just the longest time ago ever.
I wasn't born yet. You weren't either.
Pretty close.
You were a twinkle in your mom's eye.
Just telling you, I'm a 60s baby.
But you weren't born yet.
Yes.
And Burkett is the one who knows all about it, right? Because he was like a constable in the village at the time. And so he knows all about the Edwards case. They get a letter from Australia, so they get to pretend that he's alive and he's just gone away, but, he hasn't. And then Webster screams at Cully.
Yeah, which I thought happened way earlier in the episode.
Well, he's brusque with her all the time. He's never satisfied with what she's doing. And she comes out and says to Daniel, I think your dad just fired me from a job I volunteered for.
Yes.
And it's like, well, if you went and got a real job, Cully, that wouldn't happen. But okay.
Poor Cully.
So he gives her a ride into town. So now instead of Joyce hanging out with murderers, it's Cully hanging out with murderers.
Yes.
Troy's so upset about trying to find old Tom that he hits Tom Barnaby's side mirror because he's a bad driver. Hardy har har, that old joke.
Yeah.
And Burkett gets a mysterious phone call. Who calls him?
It's Fitzgibbon who calls him.
Yeah, because they know about old Tom.
Yes.
Right? They know old Tom killed his dad and is kind of broken.
So he's Eric Edwards' son.
Mm-hmm. And that's when Steve gets the text and goes out to have Rumpy Pumpy with Lillian, but actually gets Rumpy Pump actioned in the head by Daniel.
Yes. Rumpy Pump action.
I thought that was funny.
Yes.
So now Steve's dead. So we got 2 yobs down.
2 yobs down.
Yep.
Well, the other yob's the killer. So really, we're all at yobs down.
When they send the dogs after old Tom, it's sad.
It is.
But he won't come in. Like, if you'll just come in and talk, this is not going to happen to you. And David Bradley does such a good job of being like proud and kind of crotchety and independent, but he also does a good job of being vulnerable and old.
Yeah.
And they put just enough blood on him to make him look, not like mortally injured, but kind of beat up. And you just feel bad for him.
You do.
Even if he does have a big padded sleeve that the dog is grabbing.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh. But then they put him in the most dramatic interview room we've ever seen in a Midsomer. It's got like one bare light bulb.
Dun, dun, dun.
The edges of the room are in darkness. And when Troy is talking to, that jerky cop, Sergeant Gill, who appears in another episode, by the way.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Sergeant Gill?
Sergeant Gill, who razzes Inspector Troy. They're in there together, and it's just so, I don't know why it's so dramatic, but they light it funny. Maybe to make it feel even more claustrophobic, so that we understand why Tom is kind of losing it.
Maybe.
So Tom then finds a picture of Eric Edwards.
Yes.
And shows it.
Who looks like somebody
Tom.
who should be in Foghat.
But he does have a little bit of a resemblance to old Tom.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it, I thought, I wonder if that's actually David Bradley from the 60s.
Or David Bradley's dad.
No, it wouldn't be old enough.
No, it wouldn't.
No. So we know that old Tom says he went away, he didn't come back, he couldn't.
Yeah.
Because he was dead. And now Barnaby has to confront Fitzgibbon and Burkett and say, okay, you two know what happened.
And they basically come clean. And it's great because Tom is stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows who killed Eric Edwards now. But he understands ethically that Tom shouldn't go to jail.
And since he's working the case alone, he doesn't have to.
No, he totally lies to Troy.
He's not setting a bad example for Troy.
No.
Showing Troy that you shouldn't always follow the law. Because he even tells Fitzgibbon, it's a slippery slope and you know it.
Yeah.
But he makes that decision on his own and he doesn't have to worry about explaining that to anybody.
No.
It's an old guy's decision.
Yeah.
I think you're overestimating the peace you've given Tom down the years.
Yeah.
Like you haven't helped him as much as you think you have. So does Daniel have a collection of phones now?
He does.
Because he's got Simon's phone, and then he's got Steve's phone, and he's got the unregistered phone that he uses to make the text messages, and he's got his own phone.
There's a telephony problem here, okay? The telephony problem is that the Yobs have been calling Lillian for months and talking to her and texting with her. And then suddenly they get a text from another number, which, okay, Lillian clearly doesn't care about these affairs being noticed.
Right. So you'd think when they meet her in the woods, they'd say, oh, I wasn't sure it was you since it came from that other number. And she'd go, what?
Or something like that. Yeah. Right? But
I guess that doesn't happen because
they get shot.
They never actually see her in those cases.
But they also are just like, oh, well, I guess you got a new phone. I guess I'll just run out into the forest and have Rumpy Pumpy.
Okay. They are supposed to be like 18-year-old boys.
They are.
So
they are.
They'll do really stupid things for sex.
But there's a problem there that I didn't like.
I have no problem with it because I think they would totally do it. I think if she was sending smoke signals or Morse code, they'd probably still come.
So they find out that Lillian's been calling them. So they go to the Webster house to talk to Lillian.
And she's dead.
And you have the saddest scene of sad scenes.
Yeah.
Because we don't like Webster, but his wife didn't deserve to die. And it's implied in that scene that she shoots herself.
Right. Because that's how Daniel makes it look.
Yeah. So that's it.
And if you're, her husband and you guys are constantly bickering, then you would feel bad that she killed herself.
Yeah.
Like it's my fault, but not as bad as you'll feel when you realize that your son actually did it.
Because she was bonking his friends.
And killed his friends. Like, wow, that's so bad. And Cully goes to talk to Daniel because she feels sorry for him.
Yeah.
But then he confesses to all the murders, and we've got the classic Midsomer scene where Tom realizes that his wife or his daughter are actually with the killer.
But it's Troy that figures it out.
Yeah, he does.
But of course, I don't care.
Because he's an inspector now.
I
so
don't
he's
care
smarter.
what's happening in that scene because I'm obsessed with 3D pipes.
The screensaver on the computer.
The screensaver from Windows 95 is on one of the computers, and I'm like, nostalgia zone of 3D pipes.
Is it from Windows 95?
I think it's Windows 95.
Because that would be pretty old. Because what year is this film?
2003.
That's pretty sad if they're still using Windows 95.
I was trying to look as to what version of Windows it was.
Maybe they had it for a little while longer than that.
Oh, they did have it in Vista too. Which
that explains
we've
it.
tried to scrub from our brains.
That's true.
It was in Windows 98, Windows 95, and Vista.
Vista's like New Coke.
Yes.
Or Crystal Pepsi. It's just bad. Just forget about it.
We missed one tiny little scene. We just went over it really quickly. The scene where Troy runs into Tom's car and then bitches.
Yeah. Like, wait a minute, you hit me.
It's just a wild goose chase.
And then we get the little nice dinner scene at the table. This is Troy's last episode. And there's a cake.
Yes. It has Middlesbrough FC on it. Because that's where Troy is going.
Right.
Now, Middlesbrough is a real place.
Right.
Middlesbrough FC is a real football team. They were established in the year that it says on the cake. And Troy, and they totally make fun of him for going up north again.
To Yorkshire.
Yes.
That's where Middlesbrough is.
Yeah.
We know that Midsomer is near Oxfordshire.
Yeah.
Right? Wherever it is, it's somewhere close to there. So it's a 3-hour drive, 3.5-hour drive.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to pack 2 lunches.
Or a 7-hour train ride.
Oh my God. What? How does it take 7 hours to get there?
You actually have to go south before you can go north to get there via the trains.
Oh, okay. That's... trains are supposed to be faster than cars.
I know. I looked into Yorkshire because they say all this stuff about, was that your southern slur accent coming out or whatever? Like, I was like, how different can they sound in Yorkshire?
Yes.
And I knew that I had heard a Yorkshire accent before, but I get it mixed up with like the Wiltshire, the Southwest accent.
Yes.
It's not that they sound alike, but I just forget which is which.
Yeah.
Yorkshire accents sound much more Scottish.
Yes.
And so I did a little digging around into Yorkshire slang.
Yes. Okay.
I want to say this sentence, but I'm embarrassed because I know I'm going to say it wrong.
Okay. If you're from Yorkshire, please excuse us.
I'm sorry. I ate a manky buddy, so I'm off to bog to chuck my guts up.
Okay. So that's, you ate something bad.
A bad sandwich.
Bad sandwich. So you're off to the bathroom to throw up.
Me gaffer twerk, give me a dollop of something keddy. Now I'm jiggered.
Somebody made you sick and now you're in bed.
My boss, gaffer,
Yeah.
twerk at work.
Yeah.
Give me a dollop of something keddy.
Yep.
Rancid. Now I'm jiggered, so I'm tired out because it was bad. I'm not chuffed. Hey, by gum.
Hey, by gum.
You have to drop the H's, and I have trouble doing it. I'll belch you if you don't stop beefing.
Meanwhile, old Tom, is there with the owl into pups.
He's chuffed.
He's chuffed.
But the baby foxes make a weird sound.
They do.
Who's the best body? Simon, Steve, Jillian, or the fox?
I'm going to say Jillian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Simon.
Okay.
Because he's got his leg in a bear trap. And Jillian's challenge is she has to be dead while being cuddled.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah, that's true.
But it also kind of can hide some sins there.
Yeah.
If you're breathing or something.
I guess. What happens after the credits?
Daniel goes to jail.
Jail, like forever jail.
Yeah. I'd say old Tom is quite happy. I'd say Fitzgibbon and Burkett are fine. Joyce is never going to go in a tunnel again.
No.
And the Curtises, well, she's just going to cry some more and he's going to be a jerk.
Yep.
And Troy's going to go off to Yorkshire.
Well, I think Fitzgibbon and Charlie Burkett are going to relax a bit because they've been keeping this secret for a long time.
Yeah, I agree.
And the landlady's going to go on having no name.
True. Yeah. So it's not a bad episode. It's a fun episode. It's an emotional episode.
The moment with Troy and Tom at the end is sad.
Well, and the moment with them at the beginning is touching.
Yeah.
And the moment when Joyce is trapped is touching.
And the moment where he drives into his car, they're touching.
And what made one of our kids cry watching it is that the kid got the impression that old Tom laid down by the fire at the end and died.
Yeah.
No, I was like, no. He's fine.
He's happy.
He's happy. He's content. It's all good now. That's why there are babies there.
I'd like Tom to get some help.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
You think the social workers should come and visit old Tom?
No, like Fitzgibbon should pay for a therapist who comes out into the forest and sits down and talks to Tom.
I think old Tom is fine.
Okay.
If he was half his age, yes. But he's old enough now. He's content.
Okay.
I hope he gets something good to eat.
Yeah.
He must be a vegetarian.
It's got to be.
No, he says you can kill if you eat it.
I wonder if he eats the fox. Anyway.
No, they stuff it and use it earlier in the episode.
Exactly.
So Troy is gone.
This is the last Troy episode. So Troy, who I thought was in 1,000,000 episodes, is only in 29 episodes.
So Daniel Casey did an interview where he talked about his favorite moment.
Oh, okay.
Specifically the murder that he liked best.
What is the murder that he likes the best?
He says, my favorite murder was death by drinks cabinet. That was hilarious. He opened the cupboard and the drinks cabinet collapsed on him. That's genius.
Yep.
And that was in an interview in Saga.
Yeah.
So he liked that moment. And in another interview I forgot that note. I think it's in The Guardian. They interviewed him, and he said he just liked all the moments where he and Barnaby had banter between them. Those were his favorite times because he and John Nettles were very close and they got along very well.
And he didn't, there's nothing wrong with the show. He didn't have a problem with it. He just wanted to move on.
He just wanted to do different things, and he has gone on to do different things.
He wanted to do, I think he wanted probably more leading parts, and he moved on.
There's only so much you can do with a sergeant unless they're growing and evolving. He would be kind of stunted.
Yeah.
So it just made sense. And then we
See,
get
I think
variety.
that's the problem they've run into with Murdoch, not to go off on a tangent.
Yeah.
Is no one progresses.
Yeah. Nobody gets promoted.
Yeah.
We got lots of favorite Troy moments.
Absolutely. The social media has been out of this world with this. Absolutely. One of the big moments that keeps coming up and again is something we haven't talked about because this is Troy's last episode in which he is in the show regularly.
Right, because he comes back for Cully's wedding.
He comes back for Cully's wedding when Cully marries not Nico.
Right, Simon.
Yes. Lots of people like him and the lady in the Bell Ringer episode, the cougar.
Oh, that is a funny situation for him because she really puts him.
Yes, Rosalind Parr.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
He does not know how to deal with that, and I think that's funny.
Where he plays the spoons is big.
Yeah.
And takes Cully to the adventure course, snogs her, and finds a dead body.
Yes, they get the one kiss. I know a lot of people wanted those two to get together, but I don't think that would have worked long term. for the show.
No, I don't think so either. But it was nice and cute. So we had one person who, a regular contributor to things that we talk about, who is like, wait a minute, you guys are recording on Valentine's Day? That's so cute.
My favorite moment for Troy is when he's in the bookshop with the two gay guys. What episode is that?
That is Not Written in Blood.
It's the one with Amadeus.
Yeah, the one with Amadeus. 3rd or 4th episode.
Because again, when he's uncomfortable, he's awesome. So anybody who puts him in a weird situation that he doesn't know how to deal with, he calls them arse bandits
Death
later.
in Disguise.
Thank you, Death in Disguise. I can never remember the titles of the episodes. I like that scene because he's like, he sold me a diary for the same year or whatever because he's trying to buy his mom a gift.
Yep.
And he winds up buying her a car vacuum, and Tom says she doesn't have a car, and he goes, well, she can use it for cushions or something. Like, they just so discombobulated him, he didn't know what to do with himself.
Yes.
And I like that.
There's 2 parts in Electric Vendetta I really like with Troy, where first of all he sees the combine harvester and thinks it's a UFO.
And then there's Bin Man.
Bin Man.
Bin Man.
Yes. If you haven't listened to our episode for the Electric Vendetta, we have a little song.
Yeah,
that we
a Bin Man song.
A Bin Man song.
I can't believe it hasn't rocketed to the top of the charts.
Yes.
Come on. It's awesome.
Folks.
So Daniel Casey is done.
Yes.
Oh, Troy.
So,
but you know what? He's moving on to better things.
He is indeed. And now we have Scott's first episode, which is Bad Tidings. Before we get to that, remember you can find us all the time on Twitter and Instagram and email. We're at Midsomer Maniacs. We also post on Facebook groups, the Midsomer Acorn, and the subreddit, and anywhere else where we find some maniacs.
I found some really awesome Midsummer tumblers this week. We may have to post some links.
There's some really good Midsummer tumblers. If you haven't explored that, you should go explore that.
Yeah.
So Bad Tidings is the episode that starts with the Spanish night out, the fancy dress night.
It's never a good thing to participate in any kind of village activity. Oh. You are going to get killed.
Yep. And Scott's first episode is a tough one.
Yes, it is.
He makes a couple of jokes about how everybody's dying.
Yeah. The jokes that every viewer makes.
Yeah.
He makes.
So thank you all for contributing to your Troy's favorite moments. We all miss Troy. We all love him. I'm a Jones man myself. But Troy is a close second to Jones.
You never forget your first sergeant.
Yes, you never forget your first sergeant.
All right, so until next time, Maniacs.
Bye, Maniacs.
Bye, Maniacs.
I threw you off with that.
No, it's just like, I don't know what to say about that.